Alright YouTubers, coming back at you with another knife video. Looking at another new Spyderco model. They're kind of pumping out a lot of new stuff right now. This is the new Efficient. This is the new budget value model for 2017. I guess it came out just barely this year. Maybe it came out last year. But it is a new budget offering from Spyderco. And they haven't done one for a while. They had the Tenacious, Ambitious, that series of knives, but they haven't done one for quite some time now. So here is the Efficient. Start off with the basic stats on it, and we'll kind of get more into the impressions and such. So your blade length on this guy is 3 inches. Cutting edge is, your close length is just a hair over 4 inches on that. Overall length just a hair over 7 inches. Your cutting edge is 2.68. Does have that nice forward choil there. You're looking at 0.118 as far as your blade thickness. So typical Spyderco, ground very thin. You have 8CR13 MOV, so it is a budget knife, budget steel, made in China. Just kind of get those things out of the way. Drop point blade with the full flat grind, satin finish on there. You have black G10 handles, which are nice. You have a liner lock, locking mechanism. You have a tip up, left or right hand carry. No tip down carry on this one. And it weighs in at 4.1 ounces. Let's just verify that weight. I think that's actually spot on. So it's kind of a tank of a little knife. It's not terribly heavy or anything at 4.1 exactly. But it's, it's kind of heavy for its size. It's a pretty small knife, but it feels solid. It feels very well built. So let's go ahead and get into the action on this knife. Is pretty smooth. It's on phosphorus washers, I believe. I'm led to believe it's on phosphorus washers. Be nice if you could see them. Doesn't show. I'd have to take it apart, but I'm 99% sure it's on washers. It's too smooth to be on anything but the phosphorus bronze. So you can use the thumb hole there. You can do the middle finger flick. It's not gonna like fall. It's not. See how it doesn't like fall on you. But it's easy to open. But shutting it, you kind of have to give it a little nudge there. So the action on it's pretty good, especially for a $38 knife. The pocket clip on this one is your standard Spyderco hourglass type pocket clip, the one that comes on the Paramilitary 2. Here's a Native 5. Same kind of clip on there. So very standard pocket clip. Works well. It's well designed. Clips nicely on the pocket. It's pretty big size, good size clip for this small of a knife, but it makes sense for Spyderco to use these similar style clips on a lot of their knives. So no big deal there. Ergonomically, the first thing I noticed when I got this knife is that you've got this big, huge cutout here to disengage the liner lock, and it also acts as like a finger choil, so to speak. Now, with your hand there, I can barely, I can't get all 4 fingers all the way on. It's pretty close. I will say, when you naturally open the knife, that you're going to want to go forward on that choil. It's just going to be what you do. I have medium-sized hands. If you have large hands, you're going to definitely use that choil, because you can see with the choil I have quite a bit of handle left. But if I come back here, I can get a good solid grip on it, but it just doesn't feel as natural as using the choil. So just kind of immediately grab the knife, use that forward finger choil, which has a good amount of jimping on there, FYI. And you have a good amount of jimping here on the top of the blade here. So that is a very natural feeling grip. So there the ergonomics are good. Back here, they're not bad, but you almost kind of wish they moved this finger choil up to like right here and then made that cutout. And I think you'd be able to get a full 4-finger grip on there. I mean, it's really close. I mean, I can almost do it. Can't quite get all of my pinky on there, but pretty close. Now, in comparison, a knife that's very similar in size, the Native 5, when I grab it, I get a full grip on there naturally without having to use the forward choil. So if that's something that's going to bug you, that's something to kind of really think about with this little knife, because it naturally when you get it out, you just feel like I'm going to grab that forward choil. So here it is side by side compared with the Native. The Native has a titch longer handle, and I think that helps quite a bit with those ergonomics. So, but you know, with the Efficient, it's not bad at all. There's definitely no hot spots. Even back here or up here, it's very comfortable in the hand. Reverse grip, same. Again, you're just naturally going to go for that choil, guys. It's just the natural way to hold this knife, and I think it's designed to be that way. If you hold it back here, it doesn't feel as good or as natural. It's just kind of one of those things that you just feel when you pick it up. So it doesn't have any hot spots. It's got a good feel for a $38 knife. If this had a different steel on it, I would think it would cost more around 80 bucks, you know, 75, 60, anywhere 60 to, you know, 85 bucks if it had a decent, you know, even if it had VG10 on it or something. I would feel like it would be a more expensive knife. So the fit and finish of it, again, first impressions here, are very good. It's got the nice lanyard hole here. It's kind of far up on there if you're going to put a lanyard. It does use a what is it? I had it out earlier. A T9. Yeah, a T9 bit for the pivot plus the screw, the handle screws. And you can see that the screws are a little different looking. Torque screws, they're more concaved, indented. It's kind of different versus, like, you know, your ones here on the Native. So just a little different look on there. But overall, I'd say the ergonomics are good, you know, but again, it's that choil. If you use this choil, it fits awesome in the hand. It feels nice. You feel like you have a ton of control over it. If you choke back here, it doesn't feel, for me, as quite as good. So again, fit and finish is good. Cutting ability. Let's do a little cut test here. Man, where'd my newspaper go? Oh, there it is. Looks like I had it out. We're going to go through the multiple layers. I anticipate this to have an incredibly good edge out of the, pretty good. Yeah, these are some slower cuts, and again, this is like 4 layers of this stuff. There, kicks on the furnace without fail. So, good factory edge, good slicer. It just goes through that like butter. It's going to be, you know, it's kind of a typical Spyderco in my opinion. Got that nicely flat ground blade, and I just turned the furnace off just so I don't get interrupted. Sorry about that. So, good cutting ability. Good for lots of different EDC tasks. It's going to be a good box cutter. It's going to be a good food prep knife. Overall, a great blade shape for EDC. I kind of think of the blade shape as a Native 5 and a Sage kind of like had a baby, because it's got a very, very similar blade shape to the Native 5, as you can see here, but it's a wider blade, kind of like the more leaf-shaped blade of a Sage series. So it's a very kind of a combination of those two knives. Value-wise, now 38 bucks, good price, under $40. For the materials used, a comparable knife in this category would be the Kershaw Link, I think, and you can find the Links around 40 bucks for the FRN handle, and you get a better steel. But for G10, you're going to pay a little bit more. So I'm thinking, nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. You know, like the James brand knife, that's $100 for G10, and it's a better steel, but it's a big jump. The Link is going to be hard to beat with the aluminum handles, and it's going to be a little bit more money than this, but not a lot. So there's also the translucent Manix 2, a little bit better steel, but you don't get G10. So considering that it has nice G10 scales, it's a pretty good value for sure. Steel's not the greatest, but it is easy to sharpen and maintain, so that's one thing to keep in mind. I kind of look at this knife as a good working knife, just something you don't mind beating on, you know, have it in your pocket. It fits in your coin pocket, at least it does in my coin pocket of my jeans, pretty nicely. So overall, it's pretty thin. I believe it's less than a ½ inch thick. Let's just double check that though. Yeah, it's 0.46. It's kind of stuck on there. Oh, went up when I moved it. 0.457 actually, thick. So it's less than a ½ inch thick, so it's pretty thin in the handle. I mean, it's just going to carry well in the pocket. It's got a nice stainless steel backspacer. That's pretty, you know, it's a nice little touch for a budget knife. So the liner lock is nice. There's no stick on the blade or anything. Lockup is pretty late on it, but it's not going to move. The centering wasn't perfect. As you can see, it's a little off to the right. And I was kind of messing with it a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to get it centered. But those things, you know, for this type of knife, being a budget knife, being something you can beat on, not, you know, feel too bad about. If you were to lose it, you wouldn't feel bad about it. That's kind of what budget knives are. And, you know, but you're getting good quality for your money. That's kind of the thing that Spyderco tends to bring in the table with their, you know, their budget knives like the Tenacious and such. You're getting G10, you're getting good construction, you're getting smooth action, and you're getting, you know, an overall good knife, but you're just kind of, you know, on the steel there. It's not the best. So for uses, this is a good EDC knife, guys. It's a big enough knife to do any task you're going to need. It's got nice solid lockup. You know, it's a liner lock. It's not a lock back. If you know, the lockbacks tend to be a little tougher, but it'll do the job just fine for most of your EDC tasks. For most of my EDC tasks especially, it's going to do just fine. Food prep and, you know, it's just your basic EDC stuff. It's going to excel. It's going to do just fine. So overall, first impressions are good on this. It's a good little budget folder. I was impressed that Spyderco brought out something new and different in the budget line, and I think it's going to be a very popular knife for them. Like I said, it reminds me so much of a Native and a Sage 1 kind of together. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty cool little knife. It's definitely got a nice smooth action, flicks out nicely. It's a good size. Again, though, the ergonomics just lead you to immediately go for that forward choil. That may turn some people off. I don't know. It doesn't bother me, you know, but I do like the Native's ergos better for sure. But even like the James brand here, the Folsom, when you grab the knife in your hand, you know, you don't have a forward choil, but you get a lot of handle. Just the way the knife handle is designed, it was really good, and it's a little bit smaller knife, and it feels to me almost like a bigger knife. Let's look at the Kaiser. Ursa Minor, very similar in size. Gonna get a little bit more blade out of the Kaiser. And the old school stainless steel Delica. That will definitely be a good comparison. So for Spyderco fans. So if you're a Spidey fan and you want to get a budget blade to, you know, maybe get as a gift for someone, or, you know, you're on a budget and you want a good EDC knife, this is definitely going to be a good choice. Definitely. Now you could spend a little bit more money and get a Manix 2 and BD1, or you could get, you know, double that. You're going to be the S35 VN Native, which is, you know, really good steel. So it's up to you. You know, you got to decide your budget and say, is it worth me spending a little extra money, or, you know, I'm only going to spend 40 bucks on a knife. I want something I don't have to worry about. Perfect option, because it's small, it's EDCable, you can carry it anywhere. It's not terribly heavy, 4 ounces. It's a little heavy for its size, but not bad. One thing to note, it could be a lot heavier. It's got skeletonized liners, which is a pretty cool feature at this price point. You can see them right there. So skeletonized liners is nice. That's going to save some weight. They could have gone, and I mean, the stainless backspacer looks really nice, but they could have gone with this like standoffs, and that would have kind of a more open flow construction, and that would have saved on weight a little bit more. But, you know, that's just a nitpicky thing. Let me think. If there's any other final thoughts, you know, things I would change, just not really. I mean, it's a little. You can almost get all 4 fingers on that one, but again, it's just a natural. I've said this like 4 times in the video, so I'm reiterating it, but it's natural to hold the knife like this. So overall, a cool little budget folder from Spyderco, the Spyderco Efficient. This has been my first impressions and initial review on this knife. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. We'll see you on the next one.